What's up guys? In this episode, I'm gonna show you how to create generative art using TypeScript and TypeScript only. Generative art is an art form where you use an autonomous system to generate an artwork. What we're gonna create in this episode looks like this. So we have Visual Studio Code open over here. We're going to go ahead and initialize the project. And then create a HTML file. And set up the script to load the app.js, which would be generated from the app.ts file. So the first thing is to create a bootstrapper function. This is the hook function that would be called by the HTML file when the script loads. So we're going to be using the HTML canvas to draw all our artwork. Here we create a canvas element and then append that to the body of the HTML. And then go ahead and set the width and the height of the canvas. And then extract the context from the canvas. This is the context that we will be drawing onto. Image smoothing enabled and image smoothing quality, they define the quality of the drawing. So if you want to have high quality anti-aliased drawing graphics, then we should enable. So the simulation object that we are creating over here doesn't exist now, but we will create that in a bit. And then we're gonna set up the update and drawing loops. So we use setInterval function for that. The update frame rate and the rendering frame rate will be defined as such. So we're going to automate the compilation of TypeScript using tsc-w. It will watch the TypeScript file and then compile when there's a change. Now we're going to create an interface called iSimObject. So this is the interface that we would use for all the objects in the simulation, including the simulation. There are two functions or two methods, update and draw. So in update, what happens is the object's state gets updated. And in draw, we would use the context to draw onto that. This way, we can separate out the state management from the drawing components. And we will create the simulation object. Then we have the update and draw methods implemented. to be implemented actually. Fill the background with green and then see if that works. Okay, update the page. Now we're going to create a particle object. So you get the width and height of the canvas area, so it knows how to initialize itself for the locations. Here we would set up the internal parameters of this particle. So the time to live, this is something that I would be using later on, but in this video we are not actually using it. So the idea is that the particle has a defined lifetime, and when it expires it will be deleted. So we set the colors to black. Here we're going to create a bunch of particles now. Now, in order to randomize the operations or the creation of these particles, we would need some utility functions. So here I would create a few of those. We use polar coordinates for the velocity of the particle. This is an easy way of computing this velocity. But when you want to draw something, we want to convert that to Cartesian coordinates. So that's what this function does. So in the constructor of the particle, we will initialize this object with random values. Here we set up some constants for the particles. Now we're going to go ahead and implement the draw function. First we save the context state and then draw our graphics and then restore the previous state of the context. So the function experiment, that's where we would implement all the graphics rendering. So we're going to simply draw a circle where the particle is and fill it with a color. Now, in order to move the particles, we need to update them at every time step. So we do that in the update function. So we're gonna create some colors. The best way to do it is to set up some color palettes. So color palette will have some nice looking colors. You can get this on the web. Over here, the color palettes, it's an array of arrays or array of palettes. Each palette has 5 colors. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a palette assigned to the simulation for each of the run. So we will randomly select a palette for the simulation run in the constructor and then pass it on to every particle. So that's what we are doing. We're gonna get a random palette here. And then pass it on to the particle. And then each of the particle will select a random color from the palette. Right, so now we have multicolored particles running around in the canvas and drawing itself onto the canvas. If you refresh the page, you get various different colors drawn. But one thing that you can notice is that the background is always green. That is because we have set our background to green. So let's put the selected palette's first element to the background. Okay, that's much better. So right now we have very nice looking drawings, paintings. Wow, amazing. I'm amazed. This is very good. These are some nice looking abstract art, but for the next week's episode, I'm going to try and improve this and see if I can influence the drawing by giving it a background image. Join me then.